Alright.
I'm Cole.
And I'm EJ.
Today we're going to talk about some topics, some hot topics in sports today. And I'm going to start out with this hot topic. Playoffs.
Playoffs?
NFL playoffs are finally here.
Well, yeah.
So, we're going to talk about the matchups with Seattle and Washington. How you think about that, EJ?
First and foremost, I want to be the first to admit that I did not see Russell Wilson starting this year, let alone taking his team to where he did this year.
Okay.
I think RG3 is a little bit more expected. So from my perspective, I think Seattle and where they're at is a little bit bigger of a surprise. I thought I've seen Seattle kind of being in this playoff position. I mean, you talked about this before, but I'm being completely honest. It was with Flynn. My whole mental picture was with Flynn putting him in this position. So I must say that's big ups to Seattle in that aspect. As far as the outcome, man, I feel like RG3, as good as he is, he's by far, not only is he proven himself to be arguably the best rookie quarterback, in my eyes he is, he's arguing to be in the MVP running, in my opinion, even though they probably won't put him there. There's some guys that is going to get it over him. But I think Russell Wilson and that defense, who's arguably the best defense in the league, at least right now, I have to say I think Seattle might bear to push RG3 down, unfortunately.
Hey, I know you ain't gonna hear no complaints from me about RG3, because like I told you, and you have been keeping up with us in our videos, I said RG3 was the most dynamic offensive player.
I think you said that way back in week 6, maybe. So you've been saying that for a while, yes.
And I've been sticking by RG3. I haven't seen a bad game from RG3 at all this year. And what you saying that? And Russell Wilson, hey, gotta tip my hat off to that man. I did not think he was going to, come in his first year and take a team to the playoffs with Seattle. And, another tip my hat off to Pete Carroll. We're putting him in that position along with Russell Wilson.
That man started Paul. Pete Carroll, he needs to be in for Coach of the Year.
Hey, I wouldn't hear no complaints about that.
I can't think of a coach that outcoached him this year, man. I mean, that talent, that team has great talent, young prospects, but the way he has those guys playing, man, is, I mean, it looked to me he rivals Tomlin and Mike McCarthy and of course Belichick. Like that's the company if he does it for another 2 years or so that we're gonna be talking about Pete Carroll in.
And also, Pete Carroll did things different than your typical coaches. He took basketball player type size for corners and safeties and DBs.
Haven't heard about that since.
You take these freakish athletes and put them at DN and take some fast hybrid linebackers, and this is what you get out this team.
I think this is a copycat league, and I won't be surprised to see other teams starting to draft this way very soon here in the future.
Hey,
okay.
So, and to be honest with you, to go ahead the outcome of that game, to go back and make my prediction on it, I believe as good as RG3 is, he is going to be going up against a tough team, but I still think he pulls it out only because the game's going to be played in Washington. If it was in Seattle,
okay.
Hey,
I respect that.
Seahawks is win with that 12th man.
Please make sure you guys, if you're still listening, which you should be because we're the greatest thing in the earth to listen to, make sure you comment on that and let us know how you think. Let's move on to another matchup. We got Green Bay and
Minnesota. Hey, this is a rubber match right here. They each have won a game
3 times, right? This is gonna be the third time.
Third time.
Ooh.
Minnesota's won one.
You can't beat a man 3 times. I mean, Green Bay. Hey. And when I say when you watch that game, you can say what you want to say. They knew AP was gonna run the ball. AP went out there and opposed his will.
My man, all Mr. all day.
But I'm gonna go ahead and get to my prediction quick on this one. People have been talking about this for a couple weeks. I'm just gonna knock it down short. If you want to speak on it a little bit further, you can. I'm simply gonna say Green Bay's gonna win this game. I think Green Bay's gonna come out here.
No arguments with that one.
I mean, that is AP. There's only so much that man can do. They're kind of banged up. I kind of feel like at this point, honestly, in my opinion, when I'm listening to Minnesota, you don't really hear Green Bay say anything. Green Bay's been arguably number 2 seed the whole year. They didn't end up with it. But when it comes down to it, to me, I feel like when you see Green Bay, they sound like they on a mission. Minnesota seems almost satisfied just to be like, hey, we proved it. We made it to the playoffs. So to me, mentally they're done. They feel like accomplished, and none of that equals a loss. So I don't feel like they have a bigger mission as a team. Maybe it's a couple players, but I feel like they're done there.
I agree with you there. You know, it was an accomplishment. They really wanted to break the record, but really ultimately get into the playoffs, in which they did achieve that. And winning this game will be overachieving, so I think they're just riding it out. And Green Bay is going to get some people back and going to be a little healthier. And remember Green Bay when they did win the championship. When they don't have that rest week, I really think teams with the best record, when they sometimes get that rest week, they fall off and slip off. You know, sometimes take things lightly and already think they won it before the game's even played.
I agree.
So, but this year, I think Green Bay to beat Minnesota. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the next game that we got going on, and which is going to be a great game, I believe, with Cincinnati and Houston.
Uh-oh. Upset alert.
Upset alert. You think there's an upset alert?
Well, see.
Who's the upset?
Let me go ahead and turn this around real quick. All right? Because I'm on the Natty plane. Okay? I'm on the bandwagon. I think Cincinnati is going to win this. I feel like Houston has been overrated. Their schedule's been weak at best the whole year. The only team that had to really challenge them was the young Andrew Luck, in my opinion. They got Denver. It was a good game. They had a couple good games in there, but to be honest with you, when they played the teams that they're going to have to beat in this month of January, they got destroyed. Okay, I think this is it. I think they're one and done. I think this is it for Houston. I think Andy Dalton and those guys, they kind of went there last year, got a sour taste in the mouth. He plays beyond his years. If you watch Andy Dalton play, to me, I feel like he plays like a guy, a 5-6 year veteran. And AJ Green speaks for himself. I think so.
Because the way I look at this game, it looks like it's going to be a sloppy, ugly game. And the reason why I say this is because they're both inconsistent. When it came down to the stretch, Houston has been beat by the good quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. You know, Tom Brady outshined them, made them look bad. Mm-hmm. Then they went on Aaron Rodgers, gave up 6 touchdowns in total.
Absolutely.
So they've really been inconsistent. At first we was considering, is this the best team in the NFL? Mm-hmm. Not really.
No, I never thought they was the best team. I always
because
thought
once you start spreading them out, they
get
look a little shaky.
They get very thin.
And then my thing with Cincinnati is sometimes their offense doesn't even look there, and it takes a second to get going.
But that goes into what you're talking about.
My main concept is that they don't go to AJ Green enough. You got one of the best.
AJ Green got targeted over 150 times this year.
But there's still times where Andy Dalton looks shaky, where he doesn't want to go to them.
Right, but
I do know that Gresham should be helping on the other side, and sometimes
go
the
on
run
the defensive
game.
side though. You got to realize something. Matt Schaub is a great quarterback, one of the most underrated quarterbacks. But one thing that Cincinnati has is, I don't care what y'all say. Y'all can quote me on this 3 years from now. They got the best defensive tackle in the game. I'm talking about he's better than Loinada. All them cats. He is the best D tackle in the league, and Geno Atkins. And then he's got a top 5 to 10 in that Pico dude, okay? You pressure up the middle, 14 and a half sacks from the D tackle position, that's one sack. Okay? When you got that type of pressure, Schaub can't. When you see Schaub get shooken, and you talking about Andy Dalton not going to anybody else. The only weapon they have over there is Daniels, who will be shut down. But that other Hawaiian kid, what's his name from USC? I think it is
you talking about
Malaluga. I think he's not a great cover guy. But with Geno Atkins, there's not time. When you got somebody that can actually pass rush from that, you got about a second and a half, 2 seconds. Schaub's not going to extend.
They do got a good line and getting pressure at the quarterback.
Them corners.
Their defense. I like Cincinnati's defense in this, but I really think this game is going to come down who has the bigger defensive plays.
But I think that's going to be Cincinnati because.
But offensively, that's where I said it was going to be sloppy.
Right. Okay. But I think when it's all said and done, like I said, I'm going with Cincinnati.
I'm going with Houston.
Okay.
I mean, that was a tough decision.
Hey man,
I gotta go with Houston. I can't. Really, in my mind. J.J. Watt last year,
3 weeks in a row though. I mean, they just got. Oh, who's better, Cincinnati or Indianapolis?
You can't go off of division games.
You can't, but what you can go off of is one of the. I don't care what anybody say. Second, no worse than the third running back getting shut down last week against Indianapolis, and they're playing in my opinion, a much tougher much more consistent defense in Cincinnati.
I think Houston's going to rally up and get a momentum play on defense. And then you'll see Cincinnati slowly, their defense just fade away like last year in the playoffs.
Okay. All right.
But let's go to our final game. Baltimore against Indianapolis Colts. How do you feel about that one?
Ray Lewis, it's over.
Ray
Simple.
Lewis.
It's over. Hey,
That was
okay.
this is probably my easiest pick. And
Easy. Ray.
Baltimore Ravens, veteran defense against the young rookie Ed Drew.
Woo!
I picked the Ravens.
Hey, Ravens. Hey,
Shout out to Ed Reed and Ray Lewis.
Hey,
Do you?
hey, listen,
Do
bro.
you?
Listen to me. Let me get the cameras. We ain't got a whole bunch of cameras in my back layer. Camera one. Okay, you listening to me. Andrew Luck. Your luck is over. Hey, shout outs to Chuck. Hey man, I lost a brother to cancer, so on a serious note, hey man, you inspired me in that aspect, but this is it. Chuck Strong is done, okay? You fought a good fight. Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis wants to taste that Super Bowl ring again so much. And if I remember correctly, Ed Reed wasn't there for that. Oh, he's so hungry for one himself. It's just that defense. Unfortunately, I think the winner from this gets to play us, Denver, right? So sorry, Reed, you're not gonna get one. But yeah, next week we're gonna go ahead and beat y'all down. But this week, it's the Ravens, man.
It's the Ravens. And that'll conclude our playoff picture. What we think, go ahead and comment when this video is over. But we still have some more hot sport topics to talk about.
Well,
You want to cut it and make it in 3 parts?
yeah. With that being said,
Yes, go part 2.
he's cold. I'm EJ.